You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, good morning, everybody. New time. Everybody's trying to get used to this new time. Welcome to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. It is 10 o'clock here Central Time, 8 o'clock on my West Coast. For my West Coast clients out there, we are coming at you live here from Memphis. So welcome to CrestCore Real Estate Hour. I'm your host, Dean Harris. Thank you guys for tuning in here on Facebook Live. We've got tons of shows on there, but I'm being told now, Dan, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
We have got a YouTube channel that has got everything on there, man.
Yeah?
You can go to CrestCore Real Estate Hour YouTube channel, and you can see all of the past shows that we have done. Mm-hmm. There's probably 80 of those shows. That's a lot of hours of radio to listen to all at one time, so I wouldn't suggest just, everything at once. But they're all titled. You can pick which one might appeal to you the most. And if you have questions, of course, you can email us, and we can help you with that. The CrestCore Real Estate Hour concentrates on investing in Memphis and West Tennessee real estate. We'll focus on all those related topics. I also will discuss local and national investment trends, as well as an inside look at what it takes to become an investor here in Memphis and West Tennessee, or what it takes to become a bigger and better investor here in Memphis and West Tennessee. Remind you guys every single show that I am an investor, so if you have that old home that you need to sell quickly, or you know someone that has an old home they need to sell quickly, shoot me an email, dean@crestcore.com. I'll be sure to get you a cash offer on that home today. By the way, on that, I don't care where it's at or what condition it's in. Just shoot me an email, dean@crestcore.com, and I'll help you get rid of that thing. Today, I've got 4 investments of the week here at the bottom of the hour. A couple in my favorite zip code of, 38118. Got one in Whitehaven and 116, and a couple in the Berkeley area. So you guys will definitely want to hear that here probably in about 25 minutes at the bottom of the hour. And then for the last few weeks, let's say 2 or 3 weeks, Dan and I have been talking about 7 ways millionaire real estate investors think. We've been going through the mindset, the mentality, and trying to give you a good idea and a good picture of what some of those guys are thinking and working towards, and just how they act. I've said this several times on the show, but my father used to tell me, you are who you hang with, and it can go both ways, the good and the bad. So we really enjoyed doing those the last few weeks. You can go to the YouTube channel, CrestCore Real Estate Hour YouTube channel, and you can see the last 3 weeks or so of those shows, and you can get an idea of what that millionaire real estate investor thinks. Today, Dan and I are going to be talking about how to build your investing network. We are in two markets, Memphis and Jackson, Tennessee. So, we don't necessarily have to build 2 completely different models or teams or people around us, but we will have some vendor partners that will carry from one city to the other, and then we might even have some that are exclusive to just those cities. But Dan, let's get into it. How are we going to build our investment or investing network? We've talked about this before. This is a show that we've done similar to this in the past about building your network. Generically, we're going to get a little more specific today about if you're investing in Memphis and you're investing in Jackson and the surrounding areas of Jackson, how do you build your team? We're going to give you names today. That's something we don't normally do, is come on here and plug ourselves and really try to push you on us or push you on any of our vendor partners. But today we're going to mention these folks, and we're going to talk about how we've built our team and how you can build yours. Yeah. It's one of the keys, in my opinion, to getting started. A lot of investors come to me and they'll ask me the questions of how you get started. And my very first question is do you have your team built around you? Do you know who you're going to use for various different things? And the answer is sometimes, oh my gosh, no, I don't. But oftentimes it's yes, I've got a pretty good idea. So let's dive into that. I want to give you the opportunity, though. We talked about this before the show. We've got a few announcements that we want to make about CrestCore. I'm going to let you do that. What's going on at CrestCore? We've been adding some really new, bright talent, and that we're excited about.
Well, before that, I just thought about this. I got a funny story for you.
Sure.
Got a second?
Yeah, I got about 58.
About 50?
Yeah.
So, I've been posting on Facebook. I posted last night my apartment Very first one I bought, right?
Oh, man.
I had a fire the first month. We've gone through that whole story. Underinsured, no renter's insurance.
Back in 2002?
2001.
2001.
October 2001. Can't ever forget it. Had a fire on April 9th of this month.
Dude,
So
same
burned
was.
up 6 or 7 units. It's been, a rough month. A lot of, I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
And
The pictures don't look good.
the pictures don't look good. I mean, I'm already framing it, putting it back together. But the funny part of the story is my adjuster called, which your friends, you actually ironically friends with him from
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Antonio.
when you were a kid. But he's like, man, we were close on your co-insurance penalty, which is exactly what happened to me in 2001. And so I was telling Leah about this, my wife. She's like, don't you go on the radio and like tell people watch out for this issue? Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait, so who's the real estate investor here? So
How close were you to it?
I was very close, but he was able to fix it, work through the numbers. But I was close. But I'm gonna have to. So the lesson learned for our listeners is check your insurance every year. Check on construction rates. Check on your replacement value of your policy. Because I was a little bit, I was right at the edge, and so it could have gone bad. If it gets into that situation, they only give you a percentage of what your total claim is. So if you're 80% insured on the replacement cost, you have a fire. They're only, it's $200,000. They're going to only give you 80% of the 200. Give you 160. Now at 40 grand, where are you going to come up with that? So when you have a big issue, anyway.
Can matter.
All that to say, it's a lesson learned. That's why I post on Facebook. Check your insurance every year. Don't just go with the cheapest.
Yeah.
Don't drive down your cost to where you're setting yourself up for when that big oh my
When the big fire comes.
Big fire comes. That's fire, flood, earthquake, those kind of things. But anyway, that was my funny story.
Yes.
But yeah, as far as Memphis and
I
CrestCore,
think I do think it's great that you think an apartment building burning for the second time is a funny story. I mean, I'm telling you, that's terrible. But we
the
talk
funny
about,
story is my wife calling me out on it,
questioning you out,
and the fact that I go on the radio and tell you guys, watch out for your insurance, and here I am, barely skinning my,
Slimming
So,
by.
well, that's part of our radio show is just to be brutally honest and be transparent and throw it out there. I mean,
it definitely shows, and we hear it from clients all the time.
you got to be that way. So.
Tell me about our announcements at
Yeah,
CrestCore. We've added some new folks.
Yeah, we got a guy, Richard. He started with us this week, or last week, for property management. Comes with us 20 years experience, commercial and residential. So we're super excited about him, which allowed us to move Catherine, who's over property management, over to CoreAssist. So she's running our virtual staffing company. And if you want to hear more about that, I did a good podcast I enjoyed with Jordan Moella on the Profitable Property Management podcast, where we talked about our journey with using virtual employees. I know it's been a game changer for you.
Yeah, it has.
So we're super excited for Catherine to go over there. And then just CoreLend is really ramping up. So for those that needing bridge and funding, that's something that Matt Jones is leading. So a lot of cool things happening.
Yes, it is
on the office front.
To
just help our investors. I mean, that's
really all it's about.
Yeah, just getting there.
You got to have the right people in the right places, doing the right things.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a whole lot of, I wouldn't say improvements. I'm seeing a whole lot of activity. I'm seeing things change from a staffing standpoint,
barely hanging on,
responsibility standpoint,
dropping balls to really being on top of it.
That's right.
We're excited about that.
Really good stuff going on there. All right, let's talk about how we're going to build our team.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, we've done this show before in a general sense, but today we're going to get down to actually giving you some names of people that we work with that are our vendor partners that we refer you to. I don't, I learned a lesson a long time ago. I had a guy, I was my second year in real estate. He asked me to refer him a lawn crew, and I had a buddy, a friend of a friend that was doing it. Went over there and scalped this guy's yard, burned it smack up, and of course, who the first person he called? He called me.
You. Did you know this guy was going to
I didn't have
scalp
any
my yard?
Yeah. What did you know? So I ended up covering the cost of somebody out, to come out and try to take care of his yard. So I learned a lesson there. I always refer a couple of people and let that client choose. But we've talked about building a team. Today we're going to discuss what the team members that you'll need and some potential groups and partners. What are some of these things, Dan, that we build around and that we talk about?
Well, starting at the high level, and just to reinforce what you said, I mean, I think, I take my reputation very, very personal. I just don't say names and refer people because unless I really truly believe in that person and that business or that partner. So let me just say that before we start. So, but I mean, high level, your real estate agent.
Yep.
Your insurance agency or agent, your closing attorney or title company, appraiser, your property manager, the contractors you're going to use, potential inspectors, and lastly, our banks. So all those, I mean, there's tons of other partners, like you mentioned, like lawn care, but you hopefully, if you choose to go right at property management, those will kind of fall underneath.
Some of those very small.
Does that make sense? Pest control, locksmith, lawn care, all funnel underneath your property manager. They'll be the ones that have that strategic partnership, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're self-managing, then you got to have a plethora.
I mean, you got to have a notebook full of people.
Yeah, and I saw the on City Light. I saw their sub vendor list yesterday. I just happened to see it on Richard's desk, and I mean, it was a full page.
Yeah.
Of everybody.
They got to have it. I mean, if you got one plumber it could be so easy for them to have one or two plumbers not be available due to jobs or whatever it may be, and you need a third for an emergency. I mean,
and that's what was ironic about it, the full page, and that's with us having half the staff internal. That wasn't the internal staff. That was just outside people we call to help with pest control and locksmith and trees and lawn care.
Now, we manage 3,000 houses, so it's a little bit different, but with you managing your own portfolio, you still got to have them. Agents, there are other agents here in town that sell investment real estate. Yeah. I'm clearly and by far and above superior to any other ones, but no, we
the most humble.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's always
coming off our best month, Dan. Just thought I'd throw that out there. This is May 1st.
That's true.
No, we do. My team does a really good job. I've got a whole lot of support on the real estate end. Brooke Howell is our transaction. Well, actually, she got married, so Brooke Fitzpatrick is our transaction coordinator. She also is a buyer's agent. She helps me close deals up and get a whole lot. I guess more. She extends my arms out even further. Essentially, is what she does. Randall Weatheral is our multifamily specialist. Randall is transitioning from an operations role to our multifamily specialist. He handles all of the details that are required and necessary for a multifamily buyer or seller. I couldn't be any more excited about his potential and what's going on.
He's a sponge. I mean,
he loves it. He loves it, and he's so smart and he's so analytical, which is what is required of a multifamily agent. So we do have that specialty in-house now. And then we've got Alyssa Fowler. She is our residential and retail specialist. So that's something that we've added here recently that we weren't sure when or how, but we've always referred out our residential personal home clients to other agents. Now we can keep that in-house with Alyssa. That's all she does. She doesn't even do investment real estate. So happy about that. What about insurance agents?
So, well, let me ask you a few questions,
okay,
man.
sure.
I think this, we don't, like you said, we don't really
plug ourselves.
I'm a little
uncomfortable doing
but I want to, for our listeners, they hear us giving content, but what value do you bring versus another agent in town that does investment properties? What is your value add?
A lot of mine, it comes from just brutal honesty. To be just honest again, I am not afraid to tell clients to not buy a house. We close 25 to 30 of these houses every single month. I'm not looking to pay a mortgage with a certain buyer's or seller's commission. I'm more interested in that long-term relationship to help them build wealth or to liquidate some of their properties. And my advantage is I've lived here. I wasn't born here. I moved here when I was 4 or 5 years old. Went high school and college here. I've been a licensed agent for just under 18 years. So concentrating on this investment world for right at 8 now. So the experience in our office goes pretty deep, and I'm also an owner. I've got several properties myself. So I'm like-minded when I speak to clients. I've got the same type of mentality and lookout for them that I would have myself. Now, we all buy different products, but the same process goes from when I buy to when they buy, and I try to treat them the same way.
Yeah.
So that's part of why it sets me apart from some of the other agents.
And me, from outside looking in, because I've been investing since 2001, I would just say there's not many agents that I really can think of that just focus on investment properties. Now we added Alyssa, and that's going to be her focus.
That's great.
She's just taking internal referrals and and having their own little book of business. But you personally, that's your focus.
I only do it.
And it was a great change for me to see when you went from when you first came back from Keller Williams to CrestCore. You were like, I got this retail listing, I got this, and then over about 6 months after you started seeing the process come together and the team, you're like, Man, I ain't got time for that retail listing. Well, I got to refer that out because I got to sell some houses for investors.
Well, it breaks it down like this. I could spend one afternoon showing 6, 7, 8 houses, retail houses to somebody. It takes me 3 or 4 hours to do it. I mean, I could sell 3 investment homes in 2 hours, I mean, it just, the time that it takes to help, that is required.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that it takes, that is required to give the proper service to a residential home buyer is not something that I can
Our system's not set up for that.
No.
I think.
No.
And again, you go do that, then it takes you away from your core focus, which, I want to just kind of point out the one thing that we always talk about, the book, the one thing, the focus, laser focus, the results happen when you do that, and I think that's the point that I see with you guys.
For sure.
How many listings do y'all have on average?
We currently have 106.
106.
I would say we probably average in the low 90s to high 80s. I'm trying to increase that to averaging 125 to 130 with a peak of 150. So we have goals that we're constantly trying to reach and trying to get to, and I can't touch enough people, via email or phone or text during the day. So I encourage you. We email and text is typically the quickest way to get to our team. But if you're looking to sell, I told a guy this yesterday. If you've got investment homes that you've been looking to sell, and you've been thinking for the last 12 months to 18 months, man, I'm thinking about selling, and you think you might think ahead for another 12 to 18 months, I'm thinking about, don't wait. Now's the time to do it. The prices have been at an all-time high, and we've got buyers that are ready to take those properties from you.
So I'll end this, and we'll move on to the next strategic partner. What's the biggest piece of advice you'd have for a buyer that's looking for an agent in Memphis or Jackson or wherever? For an investor agent, what was your biggest piece of advice?
As far as questions they would ask that
just
agent,
questions or what they're looking for.
I'd start off with, do you own rental property? It's hard because you can. This is not something that you quote sell. You know what I mean? I'm not getting on the phone telling you how wonderful this house is and how great the carpets and the curb appeal are. This is numbers. I need to show you and prove to you that this works in this area. So I would ask first, if they're an investor, do they own property themselves, so they can be in a little bit of a like-minded thought process with you. And then 2, ask them how many deals that they're willing to kill. That's one thing that I think it really resonates with my clients, is that I am fully capable and willing and wanting, in some cases, to cancel deals. It just does not work for you, Mr. Investor. You have got to back away from this and keep moving on. Good
deal. Well, next one is appraisers.
Yeah, appraisers we don't necessarily, we can't really pick. If you're going through a bank and you're going through a mortgage company, those banks and mortgage companies have to go through now, since the crash in 2008 and 9, they've got to go through a third-party service to order those appraisers. So if you're looking for your own purposes, we've got some guys that we can refer you to, meaning if you just need to know the value of your portfolio or a certain home or whatever it may be for your own benefit, I can refer you some. Appraisers, though, going through banks and mortgage companies, we have no idea who it's going to be.
So for me, I would say 2 or one thing before I tell you the kind of people I think about, but know that, yes, regulations of taking the appraiser out of the hands of the bank. They have to go through a third party, like you said, but you can tell a bank, I don't want to use such and such appraiser. Do you know that?
Yes, you can. If you have someone,
exclude somebody.
If you have someone that you've had a bad experience with, or that you don't, maybe for personal reasons or whatever it might be, that you do not want them to appraise your properties, yes, you can say, I do not want.
So that's something we can offer to just suggestion. We know some appraisers that, for whatever reason, they're just super, super conservative. They look at what I would deem kind of the wrong comps.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
they're
not looking at the whole picture. They're looking just a microcosm. So like your appraiser ends up being $25,000 when somebody else is probably close. The majority of the other appraisers about 40.
Yep.
So that's a big difference when you're refining.
Huge.
That's 15,000.
Huge difference.
Yeah, huge difference. So, but a couple favorites of mine. Don Warsham, he's been great. He helped us with our big refi we just did. So he did hundreds of appraisals. Very efficient with his team. Just give him a shout out because I think he's been a real estate investor.
Yep.
He knows what to look for. What an investment house is not going to be the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
He's just looking for it to be clean and safe and put together well.
Right.
He's not going to expect you to have upgraded with countertops, granite countertops or something crazy.
He knows how to the value. He knows what to look for in the values.
What I liked about him when we went through this process, just he would parcel it out to all his team. He didn't take them all for himself. He's like, I know we got to get these done quick.
Yeah.
He parceled out 3 or 4 guys in his office, guys and girls, and got them done quick.
Yeah.
And the other one is just Stevenson Associates. Both these guys, they can do desktop appraisals. Sometimes you need those when you're doing, say you're getting a hard money loan. Mm-hmm. Those guys might need a desktop appraisal to show what you're buying, so you can refer and get, for $150.
I've never had a bad experience with any of the appraisers at Stevenson. Everybody's been very nice, and everybody's always been respectful in the sense of, can you help me collect the necessary data so I can help you? They've always reached out and said, hey, what am I missing here, or what am I not getting, because I'm coming here. Okay, well, what else can you give me to help me come up, with the correct value? So, yeah, Stevenson Associates are great.
And I bet they have, 100-plus years of experience in that office between.
And I bet there's more than that.
Robert Stevenson and Scott and those guys. So, anyway, good group of guys.
Mandy.
Yeah,
they got a ton of experience over there.
What about inspectors? You know this better than me. And I'm going to show my cards on this one. Like, I haven't used an inspector since my first rental house.
You haven't used an inspector since your first rental house?
So I'm showing my cards.
I don't use licensed inspectors on mine either.
Yeah,
the reason why is because I tend, all right, let me be careful how I phrase this. I don't particularly care if there's some, the things that, okay, let me back up again. Licensed inspectors are hired to go into a property
and nitpick it to death
and tell you every single nail that's out of place.
Yep.
And that's their job, and that's what they're supposed to do. And if you're going to buy your residential home that you're going to live in for the next however many years, you want that. You want to know every nail that's out of place and what's going on.
Right.
From an investment standpoint, it's a deal killer because the perception is that, man, this house is in terrible shape.
Yeah, because it's 30 pages
of rotten wood,
a shingle that's out of place. One little rotten, non-caulked piece of wood. Like, how many times we gotten with investors, they just get so hung up on that. You kill a lot of deals.
A lot of deals over this. And look, if you're the inspector that has to have that, I respect that, and that's fine, and we'll go about it. Just know that you're narrowing down your opportunities to buy a home to very, very few, because these are rental homes. These are tenants. They're not gonna. Some tenants will take better care of the homes than others, but they're not going to take care of it like they're an owner. I use our rehab team personally. I mean, I trust Richard and his team to go in and tell me what's going on with the home, from all my major mechanicals. That's really what I'm focused on. Some rotten wooden things I can get anybody to replace, and it can happen anytime. But your HVAC, your roof, your water heater, your furnace, your plumbing, and your electrical and foundation. That's really what I want to know checks out. Outside of that, I'm going to fix it anyway. I'm not really buying it. If it's just overwhelming large amount of cosmetic stuff, maybe you don't buy it. But some of the smaller things that these guys pick up, I'm not sure. If John Edwards, though, if you're looking for an inspector, John Edwards, Spot On Home Inspections is somebody we've used in the past. You can call John, 901-870-0850. He's prompt, he's quick. So if you do want that home inspector, I am not here to tell you to not get one. I'm just telling you that most of my people do not. I have to be on the record as letting the client choose, right?
Yeah,
I'm not at all telling you not to get one, but what I am saying is that they're deal killers, and they often give you way more information on an investment side than you're really looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, if you want that peace of mind, I could see out of state, I could see why that extra set of eyes,
And that's fine.
As we go through our rest of our partners, I mean, if you have the right contractors and stuff that are set up for rentals, you should be in pretty good shape.
Yes, I believe so.
And I think it's worth, if you're going to buy, and again, this is a volume play too. I mean, I think you and I think volume versus somebody's buying one or two that might be worth that cost. Does that make sense? Like, that's right. Because they want that thing really buttoned up, and not that we don't, it's just,
I'd rather suggest a different product.
Yeah.
Go to a turnkey product.
That's right.
There's something else. If you need that, then you need to go to a little bit different product, because the ones that we're selling you here are not going to work. All right, I'm talking with Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty this morning. We are talking about how to build your team here in Memphis and in Jackson, surrounding areas. We're going to take a real quick break, come back here in just a few minutes, and continue this discussion on building your team. You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back after this.
Griffin, Cliff, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion, while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
It is with sound mind and body that I, James Fredericks III, after fighting with all direct family members for decades, leave my entire fortune of $32 million to the one friend I had in the end, the package delivery guy, Matt Songer.
Woohoo! Yeah! I had a feeling about this. I'm rich! Oh, this cannot be happening.
Actually, it's not happening.
What?
And it never will.
I don't get it.
There aren't even people here. That's just one of those murmuring sound effects.
Seriously?
Listen, if you want to have money in your future, don't rely on luck. Put $10 away each month. Cook once in a while instead of eating out.
Okay.
Pay down your high-interest credit cards.
Right.
Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow.
So, no inheritance?
No. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas.
Feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And just to be clear, no inheritance, right?
Welcome back to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back. Welcome. All right, let's do some investments of the week. Free money, right, Dan?
That's right. That's what I always say.
You got to spend a little bit to get it. All right, number one, get your pens and your papers and your phones. Does anybody even have a pen and a paper anymore? Everybody just writes everything on their phone or types everything on their phone. All right, number one, 3413 Point Pleasant, 38118 zip code, my favorite zip code. This house is in great shape, by the way. It's 54.9. It's occupied at $750, and there's 4 bedrooms and 1 bath. I would encourage you to email me today on this one. This is a great house, 3413 Point Pleasant, 38118. Seller's asking $54,900. And it's occupied at $750. It's a 4-bedroom. Probably get a little bit more in rent if you maxed it out. Great little house in 38118. Number two, over in Whitehaven, just to the west of 38118, 786 North Stevens Circle. 786 North Stevens Circle. It's in 38116. Seller is asking $64,900. It's occupied at $800 a month, and it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Great little Whitehaven house. Ghost of Elvis over there. 2 in Berkeley. Everybody loves Berkeley, don't they? Mm-hmm. 4290 Zelda. Did you ever play Zelda on Nintendo?
I don't think so.
You didn't?
I might be too old.
I was about to say, you're an adult when that came out.
That's right. I was already in college.
Yeah. 4290 Zelda Lane, 38122, 69,900. Was occupied at $750. 3 bedrooms and 1 bath. 4290 Zelda, 69.9. It's occupied at $750. All right, last one. 1127 Gordon, 1127 Gordon, 38122. 74,900. This thing's occupied at $925.
Wow.
Yeah, great little house over there.
Owned on that street for 15 years.
You've what?
Owned on that street for 15 years.
On Gordon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, so that's a good little testimonial. You guys call me, 1127 Gordon Street, 38122, 74,900. It's occupied at $925. Shoot me an email, dean@crestcore.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions about these. And then you can go to the show's website. I'm sorry, the brokerage's website, www.crestcorerealty.com. That's crestcorerealty.com. New website will be launched next week, but you'll still be able to see right now all of our listings and the investments of the week on there. So it's free money, guys. You just got to call and get it. All right, let's continue this discussion about building your team, Dan. We talked about before we left for break. We got into your agent. You know, we clearly would love for you to work with us and my team. The appraiser, if you have an appraiser that you need to hire on your own, you can Stephen and Associates, Don Warsham. Those are really good guys that can help you out. Closing attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that this is extremely important.
Yep.
More important than, in my opinion, than you going and buying your residential home and just having somebody do a quick title search and close. The reason why is because there's so many different ways to buy these investment homes these days. You have to make sure that the title is clear. I just had a client that had to take 8 listings away from us because he bought them all at tax sales and none of the titles were clean.
Never fixed it.
Never fixed it. Never cured the title. So he had to pull them off the market. He's got to spend about $1,700 a piece, $1,800 a piece to get them cleaned up. And he's just not in position to do that right now. So it's extremely important. Will Griffin is one of our attorneys that he's been on the show. You can actually go back onto the YouTube channel and you can see it's been a while. We should have him on again. But
yeah, I think we talked about tax sales and
different kinds of ways that people buy these things and why it's important.
Yeah.
But talk about Will a little bit. I know you know him well.
Well, I've known him for years. I mean, he's got 25, plus experience with commercial, residential. So he's seen a lot. He can, double closings. He can do assignments. He's helped set up LLCs. He's got a team of attorneys with him and paralegals that have been with him for a long time. So, he's just and experienced with hard money loans. That's a key. You got to have somebody that has that exposure.
Yep.
Because otherwise they look at you like a deer in the headlights. Like if they've never seen it, it's common stuff, especially in Memphis. But you got to have seen it to really know that that's something. So yeah, Will Griffin's great. April McDowell.
Yep, we use April McDowell some over at ClosTrack.
Yeah.
They're a bigger title company, closing agency here in town. They're very efficient. Can handle large volumes. I mean, they got several offices across the city. So
that's right. How many offices do they have? 3?
3. Carterville, Bartlett, and East Memphis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we got a new relationship in Jackson. Charles Patterson.
Yep.
We just closed a deal with him last week.
Yeah.
It was fun, hanging out with him. He's got 40+ years experience. He's got a large staff. And he's only focused on real estate closings. So he's closing. Really? He's closing tons and tons a day. And everybody I meet in Jackson that I've met so far to date has said we close with Charles.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so when I sat down and met with him, I mean, his plethora of experience, going back 40 years is bar none. I mean, the things he's been exposed to and things he's worked on. Now he's just kind of solely focused on real estate.
Yeah.
So that's been good.
So there's 3 solid attorneys, closing attorneys that we've given you here. With Will, April McDowell over at ClosTrack, and then Charles Patterson up in Jackson. So that's great. All right, what's our next one? Our banks?
Our banks. Probably should have started this one first, but
maybe. It's typically one of our more important
senior partners. What we like.
Most often asked questions is,
can you help me with financing?
Can you help me with financing? Do you have any banks that you can refer?
That's right.
And I really enjoy talking about these guys because they've been huge partners of ours. I mean, I rely on these more than any of our other the closing attorneys. Banks and closing attorneys, I rely on both of those more than anybody else.
That's who your team's dealing with the most.
And that's the most questions I get about, hey, who are we closing with, and who can you help me find a banker? I'll talk about the next one. Talk about Brighton Bank.
Yeah, Brighton Bank. We've been partners with them for a long time. They're based out of Brighton, but they have an office here. John Phillips has been there several years now as the leader, and he's really turned that bank around. And he loves investor loans. And I've seen him send emails to our clients, and it's pretty simple. He's not digging to your grandma's checking account balance. It's pretty straightforward. W-2s, personal financial statement, and 2 years tax returns kind of thing, and he's off to the races. So
Yeah.
he's been good to work with, fast approval. If he can do it, he can do it. If not, he's going to let you know real quickly what's the hurdles to get there. So we've enjoyed that relationship. And I know one of your good friends is another
Chuck.
one.
Yeah, Chuck Jackson with Guarantee Bank. We just closed a 7-house package with him and one of our clients. Chuck and I go way, way back. We grove together down in Oxford. We're both season ticket holders for the football team, and I just enjoy Chuck's honesty. There's one thing that I can always count on with Chuck, and that is to tell me and to tell my clients the absolute truth. Yes, I can bank you. No, I cannot. And here's the reasons why. So he's from that area. He lives in Senatobia. The bank's in Senatobia, but he loans up here in Memphis, and he's not afraid of out-of-state clients as long as they qualify just like anyone else. Their bank and Chuck himself are not afraid of out-of-state clients, especially when they know they work through me and they manage through us. That's one of their key components, is they know that they're partnering with us. They feel better about the home, how it's being taken care of and being managed. So that's one good thing with Chuck Jackson and Guarantee Bank.
Yeah, and then I would just add, for those that are looking for, kind of bridge loans to get to before you go to Chuck or go to John, you get Matt Jones at CoreLend. We can set you up with that contact if you need it. But he does, essentially hard money loans but it's worked really well for clients that, and I think he just closed one yesterday for one of your clients that, was kind of on the bubble on his financing. So he did a 6-month loan, get them rented, get them fixed up. Now the value is going to be that much more. Can take them to a Chuck or John Phillips, and now they're seasoned, quote unquote. And he can probably get most of his money back out if it, because
I did
with
it
our burst strategy, turnkey alternative strategy, there should be equity in that property.
And just so you think we preach the gospel here. I mean, I've done this. I use CoreLend, and for a 6-house package. I had it for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. I don't remember what it was, and then refinanced it over with Chuck, and everything was super smooth and kept rolling. Now I'm looking to do another one. So
it's just a tool.
It is a tool. So, it is something. As we're talking about building your team, these are things that you've got. These are things that you've got to know are available. It's not, not everybody has got 20% down and go and buy a house every time. Let's try a hard money loan, get into it, keep it for a few months, and get back out of it. There's definitely some different strategies to use as you're doing this. All right. Insurance.
Man, this was it's near and dear to my heart this month.
It's red hot on the tip of your tongue, isn't it?
And I don't know where I was the other day. Somebody was complaining about insurance. I had to bite my tongue. I'm like, it's a necessary evil. It's terrible until you need it, and then when you need it, if you ain't covered, it's bad. You know what I mean? Like,
no one ever says. No one. Everyone always complains about having to pay insurance, but I very rarely hear somebody go, "Man, my insurance sure came in through right on time with all the money that I needed,"
or said, "I sure am glad I didn't have insurance and I just paid for that fire by myself. That was good. I saved all those premiums for 3 years."
Never one time heard anybody say, "Man, I'm glad I didn't have insurance."
Yeah. So, and we got a couple guys and gals we use. Insight Risk Management is probably the top of the list with us right now. We use Van Menard and his team. He grew up in the industry. His dad helped start that firm. It used to be called Menard Gates and Mathis. He's very knowledgeable. What I like about him is you can call him, and he usually knows off the tip of his tongue the answer. He's seen it, done it. He's done the research. Has a lot of people in the industry he knows, and he's helping a lot of people in Memphis. And if he doesn't know, he goes and gets you that answer. And I think
I have all mine insured through.
Yeah, so he helps you with regular insurance for replacement costs, liability, umbrella policies, all that stuff that he's very knowledgeable and can guide you on that, what you should have. And that, which led us to a master policy for our investors. That's something unique for us that we add value to.
Talk about that for a second, because I spill that to every investor client that I have, is that we do have a master policy with Insight.
So just basically we're trying to leverage, number one, the houses that Douglas and I own, and number two, our clients' houses collectively with Insight to drive down like a bulk policy. So everybody's in this pool of, you're underwritten individually, but we're saying, hey, insurance company, give us a good rate because I'm bringing you 2, 3, 4, 500, clients and houses to insure versus having to do onesie twosies here and there. And so it's just, and to them, it's just a numbers game. They know from a statistical standpoint, they got the numbers, they know what it is. And I mean, I talked to a lady last week that had insurance outside of Insight. I got her a quote. She came to the office from Denver, I believe, on Friday. And she said it was $500. Her master policy was $500 less than what she was currently. Wow. I said, "Oh wow, that pays your management fee for the year." I was just joking with her.
But that's good. I mean, that's true.
That's true. Yeah. And so it was good to hear. And then, and for me, it's near and dear to my heart. The fire example. Van's been supportive, helped me through the whole thing, pushed the adjusters when needed, given me permission to do some things ahead of the adjusters, like securing it, demoing it. I don't like, me, I don't like waiting on anybody.
No, keep going.
I want to keep going. Let's go. I can't stand looking at an apartment that just had a fire that you got to, oh, wow, we're going to wait for everybody to get their stuff together and get this trash out. No, I want the trash out so I can see what I got.
Yeah.
And so he's been very helpful in that. I mean, very, very, just documented insurance or receipts and emails and that kind of stuff, and you should be covered. So other than that, Harris Madden Powell, they help us on some of our policies with, especially around workers' comp and it's more on the employee side.
Yep.
They're a large firm with a lot of resources. They got a lot of specialization, so they've been good. And that's Blake Dickens. We use him, and he's a client of ours, so he understands the rental.
Gets it.
Yeah, he gets it. He gets it. So that's good to have a client that we're managing for that also buys property. So that's been a good value add. And then
State Farm.
Yeah, State Farm. We got Parker Rhett. I got buddy Cliff Wilson. Sorry, I was thinking about attorneys. Buddy of mine, Cliff Wilson. Both of them do good, especially if you have 1 or 2 houses and you're wanting the primo Cadillac coverage.
Those guys are it.
Those guys are it, and I would strongly recommend, because people know State Farm.
And
does that make sense?
It does make some people feel better.
That does make sense.
Which is fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why we're here. We got to give multiple choices to opportunities to partner with people like that.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And they do good rates. I'm not.
No, State Farm's not bad, right?
Yeah,
they're great. They're higher because they cover a little bit more. But
That's right.
But we like to we go back to options. We're trying to make sure that we give all of our clients options for this.
This next one's interesting to me because I racked my brain on this one for a long time. But
on the contractor bit. All right, well, let's do this. Let's take our last quick break. We'll come back and we've got 3 or 4 more of these to hit before we're out for today. But we'll be right back. You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour on the radio. All right, thanks.
You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back after this.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Welcome back to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back. Now, Dan, that's Nirvana.
Is it? Still stuck on Weezer.
He's still stuck on Weezer. My man Chuck Jackson's watching the show. I just want to say hey to Chuck. We're going through Build Your Team today, and Chuck down there at Guarantee Bank has been a real asset to me and my team. We just closed a really large package of homes, so appreciate you, Chuck, for watching today, and appreciate all your help with all our clients. So right before we left, we were talking about insurance agents. Before that, we did talk about our bankers, Brighton Bank, Chuck Jackson at Guarantee Bank, Corland for bridge loans and that sort of thing. Now, one of the bigger topics is contractors, who to use, why, how much.
Yep.
I mean, that's always the big topic when it comes to contractors. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about Core Build. It covers so many different things, from maintenance and construction, rehab. It's close to you. It's something that I believe started from your end. So talk about Core Build a little bit and why they should use Core Build and what are some of the advantages and the staff and all that.
Well, and like I said, I struggled with this one this weekend, going through these strategic partners, trying to think of other people to talk through, and I was like, man, I just keep coming back to what we've created. We're not perfect, but we started this in 2015 on a journey because it was hard to find good contractors.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you, I mean, I talked to a guy who closed on some stuff yesterday, and his thing's like, man, everybody's in Nashville. I can't get my subs. I don't have any good contractors. And,
everybody's in Nashville.
That's what he said. That's
Wow.
what he said. I thought it was interesting. I was like, I bet there's some truth to that,
I bet there is too.
that we've lost a lot of the good because they're paying so much more up there because of just
The market.
The cranes are everywhere. There's so much construction. You hear stories about subs getting paid on one job. Say, hey man, come work for me on this other job. All of a sudden,
I'll pay you.
This contractor, comes to the job site and his sub is gone, just flat out gone because they got a start bonus or whatever.
What do you think is the root of that? Like, why can't if somebody said why aren't there a ton of real estate agents? I can answer that question. Why aren't there a ton, or why aren't there ample amount of solid, good construction workers, rehab, maintenance type people? Because all it's hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I mean, it's a grind. It's it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's with your hands and long days and hot and
Not everybody
cold.
wants to do it.
Not everybody wants to do it. So your pool of people that are wanting to get out there and do it, and some are just doing it because they can't think of anything else. And so, we've been through so many subs, so many contractors, and technicians and carpenters and all that stuff. And, we started at the top. We got licensed, bonded, insured. We got our, GC, plumbing, HVAC, electrical now. So we actually got the full gamut.
Yeah.
We can build a house if we want to. And so we're bonded, insured. We have stated pricing. We're close to where you can hand your clients, here's what it costs to paint a 3-bedroom. Here's what it costs for that water heater. This is what it costs for per foot on ceramic tile. So you just, go Google it and compare it.
This is what it is.
Yep. And so for us, that's been key to try to develop that. And so, I could probably give off one-off names and numbers, but a lot of times we're not licensed and bonded. And so that's why I'm saying I got stuck a little bit this weekend. I was like, man, who else do we talk about? And so I'm just saying that humbly to say, like, right now at this moment with what we've created, again, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but we're going to own them. But there's just, it's just such a hard, to put my name on it, it's a tough.
If anybody tells you that their rehab team and their maintenance team never makes some mistakes, they're flat out lying to you.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever hear somebody say, hey, we rarely make mistakes. Man,
yeah.
It's construction and it's maintenance, and that just doesn't happen.
We've learned some tricks of the trade. Our project manager, estimators that go start to finish on the jobs. Mm-hmm. Now they're carrying around small tools, and so trying to be more efficient with that of just even, going to the house and trying to get that sub back for that last missed a smoke detector or missed a smoke detector battery or missed one little piece of paint right here. Man, just go ahead and knock it out versus keeping it and now writing it down.
Someone's got to come back out.
Send it to your person to try follow up.
No.
Let me know when it's finished. I'll come back. Like that whole thing. So we're trying to speed that up. And then, I think that's enough about contractors.
Yeah, property management.
We got 2 more we got to knock out real quick.
Yep.
Property management, I was thinking about this weekend. Bob Renshaw, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah. So
he does a great job and have a very sharing relationship. Most other people that do property management, if you think about it, it's really turnkey for them. Like they're selling turnkey and then they're managing
themselves.
And they don't really do their own. They don't want to take outside clients.
Right.
A lot of them. So
Because it is difficult.
Yeah. So some of those managers are good, but they don't want to take outside clients. So then, Renshaw's one, and then we, obviously CrestCore, and I think about why us, and I'm like, we're investors first. You hear all these stories. We are constantly trying to get better. I mean, it's it's just not a business we bought or it's created to like own a couple or manage a couple hundred houses and then sit back on the beach. It's like, no, we're building a business, processes, systems.
Property management, Dan, is difficult. It is difficult to do.
Preach it.
And it's difficult. I am, and it's difficult. And it's more difficult, I believe, for us because we're not turning people away because it's a $350 rental. We will manage that for you. There's a right and wrong way to do it.
Right.
But there are other management companies that limit themselves, and they come to one product or one rent range, and that's all they want to do, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. We try to be a one-stop shop for you. If you want that lower-end home, that's fine. If you've got a higher-end one, we can manage that one as well. But it is difficult, and nobody's perfect in the management world. One thing I will say, I'm not we work with management, but I don't, I'm not in management, in property management, I guess I should say. But one thing that I've always noticed about our property management division is that if there is an issue that comes up, that we've made a mistake, we always own that mistake and correct it and fix it and move on. That's one thing that I've always said is that, every property management company on the planet is going to make mistakes. It's just how do you react after you make those mistakes is going to be the difference, in my opinion. Because it's just too many moving parts to not ever make a mistake.
So it kind of goes back to core values.
Yep.
What's your core values? I think that's very important. Back to the contract, all of these. Like I'd ask, what's your core values, and how do you live those out every day? If they can't state them,
you might have an issue.
And so like Renshaw brought up property management. I know his core values are similar to ours.
Yeah.
And that's why I respect him.
And that's why you've said his name here on the air today.
Yeah. Not afraid of it, but
right.
Accounting.
We'll
end with this one. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, this is your back end. All your, what do we call them? Deductions. Depreciation. All that stuff. And so I have two routes I would suggest. ATA, we kind of start partnering with those guys. They have 18 offices, Tennessee, North Mississippi, I think even Arkansas.
Yep.
So they know they can handle the small client to the large client. So those that with one or two houses or just wanting to, somebody to process a return, not looking for a lot of guidance, these guys would be perfect. But they can also handle the guidance piece as well. But they're going to be, more affordable on that size for investors that might have 1, 2, 5 houses, right?
Yep.
CBiz, that's who we've been with for a couple of years now, several years now, and they're built to handle complicated, larger tax returns, meaning, when you have 20 houses and 30 houses and multiple businesses.
You need an accountant that specializes in that.
Yeah, you just need somebody that's, and we like them because Bells and some of the other,
big developers, property owners.
Yeah, property owners, bigger, the commercial stuff. They've been ahead of us, they're way, way, way ahead of us, and they're doing their tax returns. So anything that they've learned how to work with this new tax law or an old tax law or, you know what I mean? Deductions and that kind of stuff, they're ahead of us. So we get to ride the coattails.
That's good.
And that's what I enjoy about that part. So.
Hey, Dan, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate you guys listening today. Go to our show's YouTube channel, the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. You can go and check out all of the prior shows and today's show. We're going to post it today. So appreciate you listening. We'll be back next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Thank you.